My wife said, plenty of men want me, so I left and let them have her, but later she is calling and begging to reconcile. I was working from home when my wife Jessica walked into my office and said she wanted to talk. I closed my laptop thinking maybe she wanted to plan our anniversary dinner or something normal like that. Instead, she told me she wasn't happy anymore. We'd been married for 6 years, together for 9 total, and I thought everything was fine. Sure, we had our arguments like any couple, but nothing serious. I asked her what was wrong, if there was something I could do differently. She crossed her arms and said I was boring, that I never wanted to go out anymore, that I'd gotten too comfortable, that the spark was gone. I reminded her that I'd been working overtime for the past 3 months trying to save up for the down payment on a house. She knew this. We'd talked about it 100 times. That's when she said it. Maybe you're not trying hard enough because plenty of men want me. Men who aren't boring and stuck in their routines. I just sat there staring at her. She'd never talked to me like that before. I asked if there was someone else and she rolled her eyes. She said there didn't need to be someone specific for her to know she had options. That she could go on any dating app right now and have 1,000 matches by tomorrow. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach, but instead of arguing or begging, I just nodded. I said, okay, you're right. You should see what those options look like. Her face changed immediately. She wasn't expecting that response. She asked what I meant and I told her if she thought she could do better, she should try. I wasn't going to fight for someone who just told me I wasn't enough. Jessica started backtracking, saying she didn't mean it like that she was just frustrated and wanted me to care more, but the damage was done. I packed a bag that night and went to stay with my buddy Chris. Took my laptop, some clothes, and left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter. Jessica called me maybe 20 times that first night. I didn't answer. She sent texts saying she was sorry, that she overreacted, that we needed to talk. I replied once telling her I'd handle the divorce paperwork and she could keep the apartment. The first week was brutal. I stayed on Chris's couch, went to work, came back, and just existed. Chris kept saying Jessica would come to her senses, but I didn't care anymore. You don't say something like that to someone you love. By week 2, Jessica was calling Chris trying to get him to convince me to come home. She told him she made a huge mistake and didn't mean any of it. Chris asked me what I wanted to do. I told him I was done. Week 3 is when things got interesting. My coworker Ashley invited me to a group happy hour downtown. Nothing romantic, just the team hanging out after a big project wrapped up. I posted one picture on Instagram of the group at the bar, just casual, everyone laughing and having a good time. Jessica saw it within 5 minutes. She started blowing up my phone asking who Ashley was, why I was out drinking with other women, if I'd already moved on. I didn't respond. The next day, she showed up at my office. The receptionist called me saying my wife was in the lobby demanding to see me. I went down there and Jessica looked terrible, like she hadn't slept in days. She grabbed my arm and started crying, saying she'd made the biggest mistake of her life, that she didn't want those other men, she wanted me, that she was scared we were getting old and boring and she panicked. I pulled my arm away and asked her why she was really here. She said she'd been on 3 dates in the past 2 weeks and they were all horrible. One guy only talked about his CrossFit routine. Another one kept checking his phone the entire dinner. The third guy asked her to split a $20 bill down to the penny. She said she realized nobody would treat her the way I did. I almost laughed. So she only wanted me back because her options weren't as good as she thought they'd be. Jessica grabbed my hand and said no, that wasn't it. That those dates made her realize what she had with me. The comfort, the stability, how I actually cared about building a future together. I looked at her and said, that's exactly my point. You only appreciate me now because you tried to trade up and couldn't. That's not love, that's settling. Her face went pale. She started saying I was twisting her words, but I wasn't. I told her I'd spent 3 weeks thinking about our marriage and I realized something. I'd been so focused on making her happy that I forgot to ask if I was happy. And honestly, I wasn't. Not with someone who needed to shop around to appreciate what she had. I told Jessica the divorce papers would be ready in 2 weeks and she could have everything in the apartment. I'd already found a new place. She stood there crying in the lobby, but I just walked back to the elevator. Chris said I was cold for leaving her like that, but the truth is, she left me the second she said plenty of men wanted her. I just made it official.